So, after watching last week's episode, you might have an idea of which model Jeep you want to buy with what engine, but what about all of the options that are available? In today's episode, we're going to discuss the 5 must have manufacturer installed options when you purchase your new Jeep. Come join us. Okay, so why don't we get started at discussing some of the options available when you're purchasing your new Jeep Wrangler. Now, if you have a look at the screen here, we've got a list of available options and they're in alphabetical order. And what I intend to do here is organize them into items that are manufacturer installed and aftermarket installed. And while I go through them, I'm also going to identify which are the ones that I would recommend as must-have options when you're purchasing your new Jeep Wrangler. Air conditioning. Well, of course, I don't know anybody who doesn't have air conditioning in their vehicle. Even in Canada, the summers are hot and humid, and so since most people get air conditioning, we'll just throw that on the list as recommended manufacturer-installed options. The all-weather floor mats. Now, that is definitely something that you could purchase in the aftermarket, so if you're looking for somewhere to save money on purchase, that would be it. Also, interestingly, when you purchase all-weather floor mats at the dealer, you don't get the carpet mats. So if you left that off your list, you would still get the carpet mats with your Jeep. I purchased the all-weather Mopar floor mats, and I was not very satisfied with their design. I found that they didn't go up high enough along the sides, and where you put your foot on the gas pedal, your snowy boot and salt would get all over the carpet, and it defeated the purpose of getting the all-weather floor mats. So I went with a different aftermarket product called WeatherTech floor mats, and I found that the mats went high enough up the sides that provided the kind of protection that I was looking for. The cold weather group. Now, if you were in Canada or the northern states, you might want to have heated seats and heated steering wheel, but it isn't something you definitely have to get, and a lot of our viewers in the southern states probably wouldn't get, so I didn't put it on the recommended must-have option. So that is an area where you can save some money on purchase. Now, the headliner. The purpose of the headliner is to provide some sound insulation in the cabin, also some protection and insulation from the elements. I ordered the headliner when I purchased my Jeep, and I learned that the Mopar headliners do not exist above the roll bar. Interestingly, aftermarket options do have that material there. So if you wanted to save money at time of purchase, the headliner is something you could do in the aftermarket, and I would check out some aftermarket products where they have the extra insulation. Leather seats. I love leather seats. They are easy to keep clean, they feel good, they look great, but if you want to save some money at the time of purchase, they are something that are available in the aftermarket, as we observed in our last episode in the tips segment. But keep in mind, when you do find the aftermarket leather seats, you may still need to pay somebody to install them. The LED light group. Now, I have the manufacturer installed LED light group, and they work amazingly. The stock headlights on all the forums and all the reviews are criticized for having poor illumination, and so did the Wrangler JKs, and you have people doing all kinds of hacks, from putting in brighter bulbs but they burn out too quick, putting in LED bulbs but then the light dispersal patterns are unsatisfactory. And so if you do it with the aftermarket, your best approach is to buy the complete headlight unit. Now, when you just buy an aftermarket headlight unit, you'll have satisfactory lights, but when you buy the LED light group from the manufacturer, they look amazing, they work amazing, and you also get LED marker lights, tail lights, and interior lights. So that's why, although it is an aftermarket option, I'm recommending the LED light group as a must-have manufacturer installed option. The limited slip differential. This is an item that I put on the manufacturer installed recommended list, especially if you're in Canada or the northern states. The way it works is, if one of your tires is slipping on a patch of ice, the limited slip differential will send power to your other wheel, which has more traction. The Jeep Wranglers have a system called brake lock differential, where if it detects a wheel slipping, it'll apply the brakes to that wheel so that power goes to the other wheel. Now, that works, and reviews on forums suggest that Jeep owners are happy with that system, but what you get with the limited slip differential is a seamless application of the transfer of power to the wheel that has more grip, but also an upgrade in the axle. That's important if you're thinking of installing larger tires or lift. Having a beefier axle is a desirable thing. Also, what you get is an upgrade to all-terrain tires. So with those upgrades in mind, I put it as a manufacturer installed item. Seems like a good value. The remote proximity keyless entry system, that's something that's a manufacturer installed option, and if you didn't want to get that, you can save money on purchase. The remote start, again, it isn't something that you have to get. There might be remote start aftermarket options, but I wouldn't recommend it because with the Jeep Wrangler JL dual battery system, and from reading about some electronic gremlins that people are experiencing with their JLs, I wouldn't want to be messing with my Jeep's electronics. So if you were going to get it, I would have it done through the manufacturer. The Safety Technology Group, that is an option that is a manufacturer installed options with all the sensors and everything, but if you wanted to save money on purchase, you could leave that out, but if it's something you want, I would definitely have it done through the manufacturer. Now the Selec-Trac is a new option made available to the Jeep Wrangler JL that was not available to the Wrangler JK. Essentially, the way it works is when you have your transfer case in 4-high automatic, the drive shaft to the front differential is engaged, but power will only be sent to the wheels if it detects slippage. So it's almost like an all-wheel drive feature, and it's desirable for people who have to drive in climates that you get in Canada and the northern states. It is also desirable when you're on highways, say driving up north, where you'll have dry patches of pavement and then you'll experience icy and snowy patches. When you have it in the Selec-Trac option, you don't have to be shifting out of 4-high when you reach dry patches. It's all taken care of for you. So if you're in Canada or the northern states, I would definitely recommend this as a must-have manufacturer installed option upon ordering. The tow package, definitely an option that's available in the aftermarket. It's just 4 bolts that you connect the hitch to your frame below your bumper. But interestingly, when you get the tow package from the manufacturer, not only is it already installed and all the wires are tucked away with the 7-pin and 4-pin connector, but you also get an upgrade to your battery. You also get an upgrade to your alternator and auxiliary switches pre-installed in the interior of your Jeep with wires run to the battery and your engine compartment for aftermarket options like a winch or a light bar. So it seems like a pretty good value, something to be aware of. The Uconnect Premium Nav and Sound is definitely a nice option to have, but if you're looking to save some money, you could leave that off your list and put in an aftermarket option later. And then the wheel upgrade is definitely an option available in the aftermarket, which most Jeep owners do. So I hope that this review of options available on a new Jeep Wrangler purchase was informative. I hope that you like the recommended must-have list. But what about you? Do you have some other suggestions of what you'd recommend when you buy a Jeep Wrangler? Feel free to share those comments in the comment section below this video, and perhaps we'll feature them in an upcoming episode. So let's take a look at our tips segment in this week's video. Now for some cheaper Jeeper tips. These are the wheels that came on my already very expensive Jeep Wrangler, but these are the wheels that were an available option that I like better, but they cost with taxes 900 Canadian. That seems like an awful lot of money just to change the style of the rims. So instead, I bought these online, where not only did I get the 5 new wheels, but I also got the 5 new tires and the 5 tire pressure monitor sensors as well. So I now use these wheels for my winter tires, and I've taken the all-terrain Bridgestones off and put them in the garage. And I have these ones for the summer, and when these tires wear out, I have the other ones to replace these. That seems like a very good value. What about you? Do you have any money-saving tips that you'd like to share? Feel free to put them in our comments section. Let's take a look at some subscriber tips now. And now for subscribers' tips. Now this week's Cheaper Jeeper TV subscriber tip is actually a question. Hey Cheaper Jeeper TV, can you explain from your experience if rustproofing is really worth it on today's vehicles? Signed, Seymour Oxide. Hey Seymour, I'd be happy to address that question for you. The way automobile manufacturers make cars today, they address rustproofing at the factory using galvanized metal, aluminum metal, as well as other design improvements. So, should we consider aftermarket rustproofing on the Jeep Wrangler JL? That's a good question when you consider the Jeep Wrangler JL has aluminum doors, an aluminum hood, an aluminum tailgate, but under here is where you have a steel frame and steel suspension components. And I've read in many forums how the old Jeep frames have rusted out. I chose to have my Jeep rust-proof so that I can keep the frame from rusting out. So in the future, when I want to work on my Jeep, the underside won't be all rusted and seized up. So now that begs the question, which aftermarket rust-proofing should you get? As far as those electronic rust-proofing techniques are concerned, avoid them like the plague, forget about them, they do not work. You can just Google it, you'll find all kinds of YouTube videos on it. I'll include a link in the description below so you can see for yourself. One popular aftermarket product called fluid film, and that is something worth considering if you're particular and you want to make sure that you get into every crevice and look after your Jeep yourself, but it does require an air compressor, a special gun, and a location where you could have all that product atomized and floating in the air. Other products that were available to consider are products such as corrosion free, rust check, and Crown rustproofing, which is the product that I went with. And I'll just explain why I went with Crown. They have an extensive dealer network. The product has received very good reviews from mechanics I have personally spoken to and from articles I have read online. And of course, their warranty is a very good warranty as well. Incidentally, the manager at the Crown here at the Guelph location is offering any Cheaper TV subscribers $10 off on their rust proofing, of course, in the absence of any other offers. So that's it for Cheaper TV. We hope you enjoyed the show. Please be sure to leave a comment in the section below. And in the My Window feature of this video was the lovely city of Hamilton, and a shout out to the Hamilton area Jeepers club there. See you in the next episode of Cheaper TV, where we help you get the most for your money so that you can get the most for your Jeep. Take care.